Gee, I think that's pretty much about it. With that, thank you very much. All my love, and all my love to everyone else.
Our unconditional love to you as well. Aveo.
Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. This is Erin from Toronto. I had a question about genetics. My question is, I am Caucasian and my husband is Persian, and we just assumed that the dominant genes would be his since he has black hair and brown eyes and dark skin, that our child would look like him. But my son looks exactly like my dad, like to the degree to which my dad showed me a photo of himself as a baby and it was identical to my son. And I wondered, is this a choice made by the child themselves? Does this have to do with their DNA or their life choices? Is it that they're trying to align more to my familial lineage, or is it just genes? Does it just happen the way it happens? I feel like there's more significance here. I would just like to have a bit better understanding. Thank you so much.
It's all of the above. The spirit will choose the genetic makeup that will serve the life path best. So therefore, it can be an expression of what will work for the spirit in this particular lifetime. And therefore, they choose the genes that will be arranged in such a way as to allow them the expression and the idea of the, one moment, strongest connection to the future hybrids possible.
Good day. Hi, Bashar. I'm very grateful for this interaction.
All right. Please speak up.
Yes. I've always felt very disconnected and overwhelmed, in this world since I was very young. And I started for a very young age, questioning, look for the sense of existence. Like many others here, I have a long story of pain, suffering, search, learning, and healing to try to connect with God or enlightenment, if we can say this word. So 13 years ago, I found you. And I've been following the formula, practice it along with other permission slips. And a couple of years ago, I finally found some clarity, peace, healing, purpose, my mission, when I then decided to go back to South America and work in communities. And I took then one of my sons. And 6 months later, he passed away unexpectedly. So I felt lost, disconnected, like I went backwards again. So my question is related to, at the moment, I don't need anything. I don't want to manifest anything. My question is actually, how can we end the suffering of our minds and be one with God?
By understanding that you have lost nothing but gained everything. These things happen by agreements. The timing of your son's passing is something that can actually aid and assist you in stretching your mind towards spirit by reaching out to him, by connecting to him more strongly, and not feeling it as a loss, but feeling it as an expansion. For you exist in spirit alongside him as well, eternally. So if you begin to rearrange your point of view and understand that you are there with him and that he is always with you, then you can expand your understanding, not feel it as a sense of loss, and move forward with purpose.
So your opinion, is grief a form of attachment?
It is to some degree an attachment to the idea that you have lost something, that something is missing from your life. Now, we understand that a brief amount of it can be healthy for you to let go of that idea, but the longer you hold on to grief, it actually prevents the spirit from reaching out and communicating with you. Because the idea is that when they attempt to do so, it will remind you of them, and as long as you remember them through the idea of loss, you will always feel the connection as more grief, rather than opening up to the idea that it is a communication coming from them.
And anything we could say to help me in this process?
I have just given you the understanding. Listen once again. You have to understand that anytime you feel grief, it may be representative of an attempt by your son's spirit to communicate to you. But as long as you look at the idea of his death as a loss, you will experience the communication as grief, instead of opening up to the idea that he is attempting to help you by stretching your consciousness and retraining your consciousness to focus on him in spirit.
Okay, thank you. If I haven't made another question, in relation to the ascended masters, how can they help us as an individual or collectively? Should we follow their guidance, or can we connect it spiritually with them?
All ascended masters can be connected to. Anytime that you feel a connection to them, think of them, you are connecting to their frequency. But all ascended masters are basically telling you the same message. It is not about following them. It is about understanding that you have the same potential as they do, to be like them, to know that you are like them, to realize your full potential. So the idea is that they act as reflections of what you can achieve. They act as reminders of the power that you have within you. So if you take it to heart and understand that they're simply showing you what you can also be, then again, you can move forward with purpose and passion.
If I may another question. So is it true that people are really channeling them as well?
Sometimes you have to have the discernment to tell the difference when it may be a true channeling or when it may simply be an aspect of the channel's own consciousness, which sometimes can still be positive. But you have to have the discernment to know the difference between when it is connecting to a different being, an ascended master, a spirit guide, an extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional source, or when it may simply be something that represents the channel's aspect of a different aspect of their own personality. The idea fundamentally is, if the information is positive, constructive, self-empowering, then it doesn't really matter where it comes from, as long as it benefits you in your life and allows you the opportunity to exercise your free will to be who you are. If it is in any way, shape, or form controlling or restrictive in that sense, then it is obviously, more often than not, an aspect of the channel's personality that they have yet to integrate within themselves.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are so welcome. Aveo.
Aveo, thank you.
Hello, Bashar. I understand the concept that there is only me in the room, meaning that I have my own production house creating my own movie. But what about other people who also play a part in my movie? Do I have a say as to how they react, behave, or interact with me? Or all these are still their own decisions at the soul level? Meaning that their world and my world actually share the same storyline, or separate? For example, can a man actually create a reality in which his ex-wife actually moves back and falls in love with him all over again, while his ex-wife in her world, in her movie, she has actually moved on and married someone else? How separate or overlapped are these different worlds?
It can happen that way, although again it depends upon how it serves a purpose in that life path to experience those things. The idea is that you make agreements with others, agree to different kinds of storylines, as you say, but you still experience your version of those stories in your reality. By agreement, others will seem to share the same reality, even though they are in their own reality, perceiving their versions of you as you are perceiving your versions of them. So you are creating your versions of them, and it will be based on your belief systems about what you need from them, which can be either slightly or very different from what they may perceive in their reality of their version of you. It just depends on how closely aligned the different versions have agreed to be in terms of what you experience with each other in creating those representations of each other in your own realities. But again, sometimes it can diverge quite readily, quite far, and sometimes it will stay very closely aligned, depending upon the agreement you have made and what purpose it serves to either remain aligned or misaligned. Good day, good day.
Ha'ata Bashar.
Ha'atu.
Ha'atu. Wow. I feel great. It's a great day.
All right.
I feel like we have had a conversation before, maybe telepathically. I was standing out in my yard and I had just listened to some of your stuff, and yeah, I could feel something. I don't know if it was that me making it up in my head with my.
It is your higher mind, and also in combination with us, because we have many conversations with people on the non-physical realm before we have them in the physical realm. But the idea is that it always involves your higher mind to gain practice for you in understanding that your higher mind can answer all the things we have been answering for all of you for all this time as well.
Cool. I do want to ask some specific questions. One, I'll just start off with one of them is about I'm a farmer. I work with the land, and I heard you talk about the Lyrians, and I just want to, I guess, talk more about like water, plants, animals, the energy of those things, and my relationship with them, and how I can evolve those. Like, I know water bending is a thing. There's a lot of things that I've seen in movies, like superheroes can do, and I just get chills when I see those things. So I feel like they're possible.
All of them happen in spirit. All of them can happen in spirit. Some of them can be brought into the physical realm if you allow yourself to see the physical realm as an extension of spirit more strongly. Not all of them are relevant for your particular life path, but certainly by allowing yourself to understand yourself as an extension and an expression of nature, as nature, rather than being in nature, then you can blend more fully with the idea of the consciousness of nature in all its forms, plant and animal, and elements, and allow yourself more efficacy with the communication with those particular forms of consciousness as well. Being a farmer, in a sense, you have a head start on this because you understand how to work with the land. Allowing yourself to understand everything that's physical as being an extension and an expression of spirit can also help you accelerate your ability to receive and send communications to all the elements we have mentioned.
Cool. And does that include the Sasquatch or other
all things in
physical-
nature. All things in nature.
So are the Sasquatch aware of me?
They can be. They are aware of many humans individually, especially those that work the land. So peripherally, they can be aware of you, though it may not be extensive.
What is a way to sort of invite them, I guess, or
Go into the forests where it has been said they inhabit, where it has been said they visit, and allow yourself to begin the cryptic meditations that Willa has delivered to all of you in the past. Sitting with your back to a tree, near a source of water, listening to the water, and extending your mind deep underground into the root system and the mycelial network of the tree, and beginning to blend with the communication between the trees in that way, can also connect you to many forms of nature, including the elementals and including the idea of Sasquatch. Begin those kinds of meditations on the cryptic journey, and it can improve your ability to perceive and receive communication from many different kinds of beings that exist that many people on your planet don't even know about.
Cool. And teleportation, is that possible with my physical body, or do I need some sort of ship?
No, you do not need a ship. You have to understand that you're already teleporting all the time. That's how you move. You jump from moment to moment. You teleport from moment to moment. It's just that you do it so smoothly and so quickly, you don't even know you're doing it. So getting a deeper understanding of the fact that you're already doing it, because every moment you shift to a different reality, literally a different universe, you are teleporting constantly. Even to have the experience of a movement like this requires teleportation through billions of different parallel universes. So if you understand more deeply that you're already teleporting, you can increase your vibration to be able to perceive the rate at which you are already teleporting, to create the sensation of movement, which is an illusion. And therefore, by increasing your frequency, you can match the frequency more readily of how you are shifting from reality to reality and perceive that you are always teleporting. And in doing that, you can learn to teleport in different ways that are more perceivable by those around you. But again, it depends on whether this is relevant for your life path.
Cool. And I've heard you say before that when the earth changes, it's not the earth changing, it's me shifting into different versions of earth.
As I just explained again.
Yeah. So what is my desire to regenerate the earth, to regenerate the land, if it's me shifting into something different?
The desire is to be a living example of the state of being and the actions that go along with that state of being, that allow others to see in you how they can also choose to shift to versions of Earth that are more reflective of what they prefer.
Cool. And one of my last questions here, I want to get a little bit more specific about my personal myself. I know that I also listen to Abraham Hicks, so I know that in my vortex there's this all around me is this pure, massive well-being, and I know that there are some thoughts that may be foreign beliefs that resist me allowing who I am to flow, and those thoughts are what I want to get at so that I can, I guess, identify them.
Well, the easiest way to do that is ask yourself how it serves you to hold on to them, because you don't hold on to anything that you don't believe serves you. So you have to look for the structure and the nature of what the belief is telling you, and realize that you may have a belief that is causing you to be afraid to move forward, because the belief is telling you that if you do let go, something worse will happen. So you have to find out what that belief is saying to you to see that it's nonsensical and not a fact. It's just a story.
And is that something that you're able to see in me? Or how do you?
I can only tell you how to allow yourself to discover it. Because again, this goes to the motivational mechanism. Listen carefully. You hold on to anything you believe serves you, even if it's a negative thing, because you believe the alternative would be worse. So you'll hold on to even something negative if you believe it's the safer alternative. So you have to find out what you're afraid might happen if you move forward in the direction you say you prefer, but find that you're not moving forward in that direction. It can only be because you have a belief that says moving forward in that direction would be worse than staying put, no matter how negative staying put actually would be. So you have to discover within yourself what you're afraid of might happen if you move forward.
Okay. And when I live in Hawaii, is there anything here, maybe around my location, that...
What island are you on?
Say that again.
What island are you on?
Maui.
All right. You understand that Haleakala is the heart chakra of the world, yes?
Yes.
The heart vortex. Allowing yourself to meditate in the understanding will open up your heart and open up communication to many different forms of elemental being.
Cool.
Does that serve you?
Yes. what about my last question is about you.
Yes.
Do you have human friends? Do you ever hang out on Earth?
I have not
Do you
set
want to be
foot
friends?
upon your planet at this time. My ship is in your atmosphere, but I have not set foot upon your planet at this time. We consider all humans potentially to be our friends if they are willing to be so.
Well, I am, and it'd be cool to hang out.
There may come a time when that is possible physically. For now, it is not yet the time.
Okay. And my last question that comes up is about dragons.
Dragons are a projection of a certain interdimensional form of consciousness that is interpreted in your reality as the form of a dragon. That's not how they look in their own reality, but it is an expression of ancient wisdom and great power that takes that form because that's the form that your physical reality best interprets those interdimensional forms of consciousness.
Cool. Okay. So the
Thank
Moho.
You said that was your last question.
Yes. Thank
Then
you.
we thank you for your interaction, our unconditional love to you. Aveo.
Allow us to begin this interaction this evening of your time with the entitlement Yardsticks. We use this nomenclature and this terminology to talk about relativity in a sense. Relativity in perspective, in point of view. To simply remind you once again, in yet another way, that each and every individual is his or her own reality. And whatever measuring rods, whatever yardsticks you may use to measure the reality you believe to be true, are not applicable to use to measure the reality that someone else believes is true for its validity. The yardsticks you create in your reality are valid for your reality and will very accurately measure the ideas going on in your reality, in your belief structure. But they cannot be used to measure the validity in someone else's reality because they have a different set of yardsticks and they are very often quite of different length. Many of you are familiar with what your physicists refer to as the time dilation effect. Are some of you familiar with this idea? The idea simply is that as you move faster and faster in your physical universe, attaining a great deal of the percentage of the speed of light, the faster you go, the more time slows down apparently from your point of view. That is, while you are remaining in your physical dimension. The idea of the hyperspace travel we talk about, the instantaneous teleportation, is quite another thing and does not apply to this idea. But while you remain in your physical universe, if you go very fast, very close to what you call the speed of light, you will find that time will slow down for the individual doing the traveling. Now, all things being relative, as many of you understand, to the individual doing the traveling, it will seem as if everything is moving at the same rate of time. To them, it will seem that everyone else has sped up very rapidly, and that they are still going about their business, doing the same things they always do at the rate that they are comfortable with. Not only in that sense does time slow down, but all objects will, in a sense, shorten in the direction that they are traveling. So very literally, if you have a yardstick, let us say, on your hypothetical spacecraft, and you are moving in a particular direction at a great percentage of the speed of light, to an individual standing still, relatively speaking, your yardstick on the ship, by the time you are a good fraction of the speed of light, will actually only be as long as, let us say, approximately 3 inches. You will still think it is a yard long. 3 of your feet, not 3 of your inches. And of course, everything you measure in the ship will still appear to be its normal size because everything has shrunk accordingly. So it has all stayed in one particular coherent system, and you cannot tell the difference. This is analogous to the idea we are talking about because every single individual vibrates at a slightly different rate of energy and has a different perspective about what is true and real for them. Yes, you have as we have discussed, obviously a collective agreed upon reality that you share general ideas and sometimes some very specific ideas within. But nonetheless, being an individual by definition will allow you to always recognize that the yardstick you use to measure things with, and we are speaking both literally and philosophically, will not be exactly precisely the same length as someone else's. And they will measure things in a slightly different way. To each of you, the equations will seem to come out correctly. You will measure 3 feet, they will measure 3 feet, but that 3 feet is relative. And if you compare them, they may be a different 3 feet. But you can at least agree enough to get the job done. Recognize, simply, that what we share with you is our yardstick. The measurement by which we decide what works for us in our civilization. We share these ideas in a general way with you. But in no way, shape, or form do we ever mean to imply that your yardstick, your measurements, your ideas, your points of view are not equally valid, and in a sense not more important for you to pay attention to, because they are the yardsticks that measure the reality you have decided is real. So remember, even when we describe and define down to the last inch, the last millimeter, our yardstick, you may find similar marks on yours, but that is your version of ours, and is never meant to be that you must do things in exactly the way we do them. Being an individual, you will always do something in your own way, slightly, uniquely, or greatly uniquely, but it will always be slightly different from the way anyone else does it. That is to be expected, and that is to be cherished. For it is the variance, it is the different points of view, it is the relativity which allows there to be an ongoing discovery of new attitudes, new perspectives, new points of view in life. That something will always be seen slightly differently through another pair of eyes, will add to the enrichment of all the different ways that creation has of manifesting itself to be. You all follow along. Well, thank you very much. Pamela. Mice, especially little mice, represent generally the idea of information as they may scurry in between the walls of your structures, delivering information to and fro within some of those portions that many of you consider to be your unconscious streams of communication within the self. But also they are simply little reminders who appear where they need to simply be a symbol, if you wish, an omen, a representative mirror of some of the gentle little reminders to look in certain places, to awaken little sleeping ideas that will now pop forth and be in your conscious awareness. They are that which startles you to life in that sense and allows you to look at a corner of yourself that may have been so small in your imagination that it may have been previously overlooked, but contains every bit of validity that every other portion contains. They are little reminders. They are the little memos that you write to yourself. Thank you very much. At this timing, allow us to extend to you once again our heartfelt appreciation in allowing us to interact with you. And in exchange for this loving gift, I ask you now, how may I serve you?